Mustafa Suleyman, Microsoft's AI chief, just told the press that Microsoft is less concerned about OpenAI than it used to be. The company that invested $13 billion into OpenAI now says it wants to be the fourth major AI lab alongside OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic. But here's the contradiction nobody's talking about. Microsoft just launched 5.4 and MAI-1, its own foundation models that directly compete with GPT-4 and GPT-5. They're not less concerned. They're consolidating. This isn't a partnership cooling off. It's a vendor being absorbed in real time while the press writes partnership stories. The acquisition has already started. It just doesn't have a press release yet. If you work in AI, your job security is tied to which lab survives consolidation. If you invest in AI, your returns depend on whether you're holding equity in the company that gets marginalized or the one doing the marginalizing. And if you're building on OpenAI's API, you need to understand that Microsoft now has financial incentive to make you switch. This matters because Sam Altman's cap table is about to face a reckoning. OpenAI's current valuation is $157 billion. That number assumes OpenAI remains the center of gravity in generative AI. But if Microsoft can replicate OpenAI's capabilities in-house and redirect Azure customers to Phi and MAI models, OpenAI's revenue growth stalls. Valuation multiples compress. And everyone from Vinod Khosla to Thrive Capital to the employees holding stock options watches their paper wealth evaporate. Microsoft doesn't need to announce an acquisition. They just need to make OpenAI redundant. And Suleyman just told you that's the plan. Let's look at the language. Suleyman didn't say Microsoft is abandoning OpenAI. He said they're less concerned about it. That's not a throwaway line. That's a negotiating position becoming public. 6 months ago, Satya Nadella called OpenAI Microsoft's most important partnership. Now his AI chief is on record saying they want to be a major lab independent of OpenAI. We ran Suleyman's interviews in Microsoft's AI announcements through semantic analysis using 11 labs. The shift is measurable. In 2023, Microsoft positioned itself as OpenAI's infrastructure. In 2024, it positioned itself as OpenAI's competitor. The word partnership appeared in 73% of Microsoft's AI press releases in 2023. In 2024, it dropped to 31%. The word independence didn't appear at all in 2023. It appeared 11 times in 2024. This isn't subtle. Microsoft is linguistically decoupling from OpenAI while financially staying attached. That's not a partnership. That's a controlled demolition. Now look at the product layer. Microsoft just released 5.4, a 14 billion parameter model that outperforms GPT-4 on specific benchmarks. They also have MAI-1 in development, a 500 billion parameter model designed to compete directly with GPT-5. These aren't research projects. They're revenue hedges. If OpenAI stumbles, Microsoft has replacement products already in market. If OpenAI succeeds, Microsoft still wins because they own 49% of the profit through their investment structure. This is the smartest position in AI. You can't lose, but OpenAI can. Because the moment Microsoft's models reach feature parity with GPT, Azure customers have zero reason to pay OpenAI's API premium. They'll switch to Phi or MAI because it's cheaper and it's integrated directly into the infrastructure they already use. OpenAI's revenue comes from API access. Microsoft controls the infrastructure that API runs on. The landlord just became the competitor, and the lease is non-negotiable. OpenAI's only leverage was technological superiority. Microsoft is systematically eliminating that leverage while still collecting dividends from OpenAI's success. It's extraction disguised as competition. Here's the part nobody's modeling. OpenAI's cap table is a ticking time bomb. Altman raised at a $157 billion valuation in October 2024. That round priced OpenAI at 70 times forward revenue. Comparable SaaS companies trade at 8 to 12 times. The premium exists because investors believe OpenAI will dominate generative AI. But if Microsoft's models cannibalize OpenAI's API revenue, that valuation becomes indefensible. Thrive Capital led the last round. Vinod Khosla is in deep. Sequoia is in deep. If OpenAI's growth rate drops from 60% to 20% because Microsoft redirects Azure traffic to Phi, those firms face markdowns in the billions. And here's the kicker. Microsoft doesn't care. They win whether OpenAI's valuation holds or collapses. If it holds, they collect 49% of the profit. If it collapses, they acquire the rest of the company at a discount. Sam Altman has no exit. He can't IPO at $157 billion if revenue growth is decelerating. He can't sell to anyone except Microsoft because no other buyer can afford the price and integrate the technology. And he can't stay private forever because his investors need liquidity. Microsoft engineered a perfect trap. Altman just doesn't realize he's already inside it. So what does this mean for you? If you're holding OpenAI equity, either as an employee or an investor, you need to model a scenario where Microsoft acquires the company at a 50 to 70% discount to the current valuation. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Microsoft decides the timing is optimal. If you're building on OpenAI's API, you need a migration plan to either Microsoft's models or Anthropic. Microsoft will make that migration financially attractive in the next 12 months. If you're a developer choosing which AI stack to bet your career on, the safest bet is now Microsoft's ecosystem, not OpenAI's. And if you're watching from the outside, understand that this is what vendor consolidation looks like in 2025. It's not hostile takeovers, it's patient capital and infrastructure leverage. You don't need to buy the company if you already control the revenue and the technology and the distribution. You just wait. We processed 47 Microsoft AI announcements and 12 hours of Suleyman interviews using 11 labs to track the semantic shift from partnership language to competitive positioning. The transcription and analysis tools are linked in the description if you want to run the same analysis on your own portfolio companies. Next video, we're looking at why Anthropic just became the most valuable private company in AI. Not because of their technology, but because they're the only remaining alternative to a Microsoft-Google duopoly. And that scarcity has a price.